Well, Antony Cummins did this video called Ninjutsu is just role-playing. And I want to say something here. It's all just role-playing. Dude, let's be honest. Martial arts in general is role-playing. Other than the fact that you have people that you run around using their martial arts certificate as a badass pill. And when I say a badass pill, allow me to explain. There's a great deal of people that I've met in my life doing martial arts who use the idea of I have a black belt or I know such and such martial art as a excuse for not actually being involved in violent activity. And when I say this, I'm saying they act thuggish, they act violent, they behave like criminals. And to impress you, to cower you into fear, I know karate, or I know Krav Maga, or I know Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, or I know MMA. Those are the big ones now. Before it was boxing and stuff. And it fundamentally comes down to this. That's role-playing. See, if you're really going to use violence, if you really have the ability to use violence, if you have the ability to really be a threat to people, then what happens is you have a reputation for violence. You have a reputation for hurting people. You know, so basically it's just role-playing regardless. The reason why most martial arts are taught to kids is because the kids go out and they learn karate or they learn taekwondo or they study judo or jiu-jitsu or whatever, and they think that they can be like action movie heroes or like the kid from Never Back Down or Karate Kid or something like that. You can look at adults that train in military hand-to-hand combatives that run around thinking, they're like super commando guy, that they're little wannabe, I'm not going to mention any names, that they're wannabe tactical armchair Rambo types because they train in some military hand-to-hand combat system, whether it be the Army stuff or World War II combatives or, the Vietnam era combatives. It doesn't really matter because they're not in the military. They don't go out and do the military's job, but they like to go play commando guy, put on tactical vest and go to the range and shoot guns at targets. And yeah, I practice speed drawing my magazine from my gun and, all these cool ball ninja military tactics. It's LARPing. When you have guys going to MMA classes or karate tournaments or going to Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu tournaments that aren't professional fighters, that's LARPing. They're living out that role. Most of them will never, ever, ever get a shot at a professional title. Plain and simple. However, that being said, they still go out and do it. They still enjoy it. There's nothing wrong with it. Everyone throws the LARPing title around because it's the pot calling the kettle black. Everybody's LARPing. It's just a matter of whether you gain something from it. Now, that being said, typically martial arts, and this is any historical study, so this will also include ninjutsu, but I'm using martial arts here because for years we thought ninjutsu was martial arts, and ninjutsu is inexplicably tied to martial arts since all ninja were samurai, and the samurai had to study martial arts. So you had to be a samurai, study martial arts, where you could study ninjutsu, so they go hand in hand, even though they're two separate things. It comes down to this. The idea that you're going to learn something, or you're going to go, you can go through and you can reenact the historical information, you can reenact the historical stuff. You're doing the same thing when you're practicing the martial arts, and you're learning it, you're reenacting it, you're picking up information. Now, that information can save your life. You can be attacked by a mugger, and you can defend yourself. You aren't, of course, going to be throwing down with someone with a katana in the middle of the street. It's not going to happen. However, what's going to happen is this. You're going to look at a fundamental situation in which, you're trying to take something from the past, you're trying to learn from it, and use that knowledge to better yourself. Now, the same thing applies for martial arts that applies in ninjutsu. We can sit here and we can make torches, and we can get into fire and explosives and all that. Teach this. In my dojo, we cover things like herbal medicine. We cover things like how to make gunpowder. We cover things like how to make a few other little devices and such. All that's covered in the school. And now some of it's been modernized. So it's been modernized for a very specific reason. But what you're looking at fundamentally is this. The idea of learning the information is LARPing. It's there because it's entertainment. It is to give you something to preoccupy yourself, to entertain yourself. And you know what? If I happen to use herbal medicines to help better myself, then hey, if I happen to, make my own fireworks on the 4th of July, I know, in America, you don't have that whole thing over there where you're at across the pond. Hey, that's my right. And if something happens and I'm ever caught in a situation where I need to fall back on primitive medieval Japanese commando tactics, which are derived from ninjutsu, hey, I got them. I don't know. I travel a lot. Sometimes I travel overseas. My life's kind of shit. I get attacked a lot. So, having to defend myself, having to fight and stay alive and stuff like that is something that actually happens on a regular basis. And a lot of the stuff that I learned, I actually need. I actually require it. So it kind of becomes one of those little things where, unless you're involved in something criminal or the police force or the military or something where you're actually using this stuff on a regular basis all the time, it's all just LARPing. And it's not a matter that it's LARPing. It doesn't really matter. I don't care about someone calling themselves a ninja. People call themselves a ninja that don't even study ninjutsu. It's just one of those things. I have a cousin who walks around and he's like, I'm a ninja. And he doesn't even study ninjutsu. He has no interest in martial arts. He has no interest in ninjutsu, historical or otherwise. But he just likes the idea of running around and calling himself a ninja. Because he thinks he's pretty ninja, whatever the hell that means. And it's, one of those things where people are going to call themselves whatever they want. I don't care. But if you sit down and you're honest and realistic about it, the whole thing is LARPing. And you brought up JJ. I like JJ. JJ's a cool guy. And JJ covers a lot of historical information. And yeah, sure, you call a lot of what he does LARPing. He plays the role of a ninja. He invents ninja tools. He practices, ninja techniques for climbing trees out of the manuals by tying belts together. All this other stuff. Yep, you could say that's LARPing. But what he's doing is educational LARPing. And he's learning from it. You know what? He might one day need those skills. You never know. It might be something as simple as he goes camping, so he digs a hole, builds a fire, covers it with dirt, puts his tent down over top of it, so the heat rises off the ground into his tent, and his tent's nice and cozy and warm. It might be one of those things where, a kid gets stuck in a tree, and he takes some belts and ties them together, and makes something to climb up the tree to go get this kid that climbed too far and got stuck, and now he's scared to come down out of the tree. It's one of those things where the information that he's getting, the information that he's developing, the information that he's learning, even though, yeah, it might be entertainment, it might be LARPing, and it's like this. I don't care if somebody uses it as an insult or not. It is what it is, but it's no more LARPing than some MMA guy taking part in amateur tournaments, pretending like he's going to go professional and getting his little 15 minutes of fame for, his little pat on the back or his little trophy or his little medal or whatever, pretending that it actually matters to anyone other than him. That's LARPing too. Hell, for that matter, 90% of everything we go through in life is LARPing if we really think about it. We're expected to play and live out these roles and be certain people for society's sake, and, that's LARPing. At the end of the day, it all is what it is. All that matters is that you enjoy yourself, you learn something from it. I think trying to argue over what is ninjutsu, what isn't ninjutsu is kind of a dumb thing. Nobody's going to change their stance on it. I think the best thing to do is simply to say this is historical ninjutsu, and then this is what modern people are saying ninjutsu, and it should meet somewhere in the middle. And if it doesn't, well, hey, whatever. I do agree with you, there's no such thing as ninja martial arts. But since the ninja were samurai, and the samurai studied martial arts before they learned ninjutsu, I think martial arts go hand in hand with learning ninjutsu, a large part of it. But at the same time, people are going to have to just kind of let the politics subside, which they're not going to do because everybody wants to be right. And rather than simply enjoying yourself and enjoying what you're doing, they tend to just, want to fight and bicker and argue, and I'm right, or no, I'm right. At the end of the day, it's all just a bunch of people arguing over who's playing what role the best.